to another episode of On the Block with Jen. I'm your girl, Jen. You already know what it is. Thank you for pulling up to the block today. Today is going to be a very special episode. I have some industry professionals, and by industry, you guys know I am in showbiz, right? Right. So today's subject is about comedy, but not just comedy, but comedians. I got some all-stars coming to the block today, and I'm asking some questions, some good questions, not regular interview questions like, what made you get into comedy? No, we're talking about the real deal today. We're talking about cancel culture. We're talking about censorship. We're talking about Kanye versus D.L. Hughley. We're talking about T.I. as a comedian now. We're talking about going from hecklers to security. What is going on in the comedy world? Is the big goal the Netflix deal? We're going to find out today, okay? And we're going to have a good time. As usual, if I miss a question and you have something pressing in your brain that I'm not asking and that I missed, drop it in the chat. Do me a favor, hit that like for me. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe. As you know, when I have industry professionals on, I start with who they are, what they're doing, and what they got going on right now. Why? Because everybody does it at the end and people flake off at the end. And I want you to know that when I say I have professionals pull up, I have professionals pull up, and I need y'all to know what they're doing right now, okay? And then I'll reiterate later, but you're going to hear about it up front. So again, welcome to another episode of On the Block with Jen. You know, I'm happy to see y'all here early, okay? I'm running a little behind today, but that's okay because we are here. It's Friday. It's easy peasy today. And if you're catching this on the replay, check my caption for all the information on these comics. It will be in the caption where you can follow them, what they got going on, what shows they got coming up if you are interested. And please hit these guys with a like and subscribe, okay? Each one teach one. I love a good cross promo. And we have to remove ourselves from being voyeurs and actually support, okay, each other, because, you know, it's hard out here, not only for pimps, but for us too, okay? All right, guys, so I have, let me check the comments. Hello, what's up, Haran? What's up, Annalicia? Good to see you here early. Okay, guys, so today I have the Latin assassin, Mark Vieira. Hola, Mark.
Hola, Jen. How are you?
I'm really, really good. So happy and grateful that you are here. And I have comedian Carlos Anthony out of Las Vegas from Part Time Famous.
What's happening? What's going on? What's up, Mark?
What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm good, man.
How are you, gentlemen? How are you, gentlemen? Now, we're expecting some other comments, but they're on Color People time, and we're going to forgive them for that. But the show must go on. You know, as professionals, we have to go on, right? I got some really great questions for you guys, but before I start, okay, I follow you both on social media and you have some really exciting things going on. I'd love for you to tell the people what those things are and where they can see you. I'm going to have your information in my caption, but I'd really love for them to hear it from you. What do you have going on? I know what it is because I follow you guys, okay? But please tell us, Mark, starting with you, what do you have going on and coming up?
You know, number one, thank you for having me on your show. This is so awesome. It's good to see my fellow comedians, you know, outside of the backstage stuff and the stuff that we're used to. So this is always fun. I got shows, you know, I got a ton of shows coming up. I have shows in New York City coming up for April Fool's Day weekend. I got Brooklyn, New York. And then I have Dania Improv, which is in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Hartford, Connecticut. I got a tour with the New York Kings comedy tour. We're doing Levity Live, which is a big comedy club up in Nyack, New York. I have that coming up in June. So, you know, little things that amount to bigger projects. So, and as comedians call it, this is the grind. You know, the tour is the grind. This is where you lay the foundation of hard work, you know, trusting your material, trusting what you do on stage, so that the people fall in love with your magic, so to speak, and then they want to see you everywhere. So I'm just grateful to be out of pandemic, back on tour. You know, if it's God's will, making a couple of dollars here and there, because when that was not the issue, I promise you, I was like, what just happened? You know, I ain't making no money, man. It's been years since the brother been struggling. But, and then real easy, if people just go to markvieira.com, my website, markvieira.com, they can see all my tour dates. I have a bunch of comedy specials that I self-released so that I can stay connected to my audience instead of waiting for, a bigger deal from some of the, the streaming services. I said I could stream this myself from my website, and I can feed my audience the kind of comedy that they love, and so, markvieira.com is the one-stop shop for everything. The only thing that I will say is that these shirts, these official Mark Vieira shirts, are only available on Instagram and at my shows. So if anybody who's watching this wants a shirt, has seen me in the past and wants to catch up, they can follow go to my website and send me a message and say, Mark, send me one of those shirts and I'll make it happen.
Okay. So the shows that I've seen on your social media, are those on TV?
It depends. It depends. The stuff that I put on social media, yeah, some of that was on HBO. Some of that was on some Showtime stuff that I've done. So what I've done is, yeah, I've ripped a little bit of, I use little snippets of like big punchlines so that when people are home and they're surfing through their phone, they don't watch the joke build. They just watch what we call the punchline, the big laugh. And then we work backwards from there, where I say, okay, you want to see more of this, go to my website, order one of my specials. That's where you're going to find, the rest of the story, right? The lead up. So it's sort of working backwards, but it's the only way to work on social media. People have short attention spans, so they don't want to see how you conjured up the material. They don't, nobody wants to see the magician working. I have 10 cards. Damn it, I only need 4 cards. All right, I need 4 cards. No, I don't need 4 cards. People just want to see, look, wow, see, it's not there anymore. That's what they want to see. And so what I try to do on social media is represent myself in a light of laughter. So whenever they see me, they're laughing, and then they go, oh my God, like, I know it's funny, but I was just having this conversation with my social media people. I'm selling tickets on TikTok. People are coming to my shows because I have such a big following on TikTok, but I'm monetizing that TikTok. I'm selling tickets because all I'm posting on TikTok is funny. So people are like, oh my God, I never heard of you. Then I saw you on TikTok, and I'm like, what? Out of all the things I did on TV, you watch me on, like, you want to see me because of TikTok? I be like this sometimes in the green room. I'm like, I can't call it. Like, I've been on Comedy Central, so, through the years, I'm like, now I'm selling tickets on social media. But I'm like, hey, however I can sell tickets and lure you, right? The bait is the bait, whether it's something you saw on Comedy Central, something you saw on HBO, the bait is the bait. And I guess that's where I'm at, right? So now I say, look, if you love me on Instagram and if you love me on TikTok, you're going to love me live. So just come and see me.
Okay, para que lo sepa. And you are Puerto Rican, right? I'm always looking for the fellow Latins. So just
that's right. The Puerto Ricanos, Boricua, baby.
Comedian Carlos Anthony out of Las Vegas, originally from Arkansas. Your Instagram is freaking hilarious, as well as your TikTok. I know you got a big show coming up, but I'm gonna let you tell it.
Yeah, see, and Jen and Mark can see I am Carlos, but I am nowhere near Latin. I'm fully black, so we're gonna go ahead and get that out there right off the top. So this is not a Latin production. Right off the top. And like Mark is full-time famous. I am part-time famous. See, so because we're gonna get there one of these days real soon. But I'm out here on this grind as well. Just like what Mark was saying, it's a lot of the TikToks, it's a lot of the Instagram. Now the game has completely changed from where people used to come see us, bookers used to come see us, and then we used to get that momentum from those type of shows. So we are on Instagram and TikTok now. I am working at the LA Comedy Club mostly here in Las Vegas. I also do Notoriety Live, which is Laugh After Dark, which is a dope production here in Las Vegas. So getting a lot of work here locally, but I will be on the road April 16th with Ricky Smiley in Little Rock, Arkansas, my hometown. So looking forward to that and just being able to get back on the road again. And like Mark said, do what we do. So it's been a grind. And, the pandemic changed the game, but we are still here. We are still bringing the fun in. We are still working to make you guys laugh. So yeah, that's what's going on with me. See, mine was quick and light.
Yeah, where can we get them tickets though? Can we get them on TikTok?
TikTok. Go to TikTok, Instagram. I post up all the shows all the time on my social medias. Comedian Carlos on Instagram as it is right here. That's Instagram, and it's the same on YouTube. Comedian Carlos Anthony on YouTube, where I am actually doing a chronological steps up to the process. I call it the process, where I'm bringing weekly, bi-weekly things that I do every week, getting ready for those bigger shows and just comedy in general. Just like Mark said, trying to make people laugh, trying to get some insight to those up and coming comedians that are trying to figure out how they're going to get their footing in the game. So I started something called The Process, and you can check that out on my YouTube. So yeah, we're working.
Okay, nice. So we have somebody backstage on Color People Time, but he is one of our favorite vets out of New York City. Comedian Capone, one of the kings of New York comedy. Hola.
Hola, hello. ¿Cómo estás? Marky, Carlos, what happened? Everybody.
Everybody's here now.
What's up, y'all?
What's up?
Capone looks like he's in a private jet, and I look like I'm in somebody else's living room. Look at it.
Well, you know, we got a big show coming up, so we in the street selling these tickets. Ain't nothing changed. I don't care how famous I get. The people want to get these tickets hand to hand, so that's what I'm doing. Me and my man Ty Brand, and we out here in selling these tickets in New York. That's what we do.
That's what's up.
Okay, Capone. So I was just going over with the gents. What do you have coming up right now? I want the audience to know what you got coming up and where, other than chasing down your car, can people get them tickets?
All right, so let me be honest with you. I decided that I'm tired of doing these comedy clubs where they get all of this money and we just get a little percentage of it. So I decided that I'm going to put my own money up, put my own crew up, and just rent out these theaters and make it happen. My other crew, I'm doing the same thing with them, which is my Kings in New York, which is Mark Talent and Rob Stapleton. I'm tired of being taken advantage of. I've been doing this too long. And so I was listening to Carlos just now. You know, sometimes it can hinder us and sometimes it can make us actually look forward to doing something better for ourselves, because they put us on freeze and we don't want to be on freeze no more. And it doesn't take a person to say, hey, you're funny enough to do this club this weekend. No, I'm going to rent out the theater and show that the fans are coming to see me, not just because I'm at your club. And that's the way I feel about it right now.
Very nice. So it's like it's ownership, basically. You're going to own your own talent and your own time. So
yeah, well, I mean, it's just about us giving ourselves opportunities. You know, a lot of us, we're nowhere funny. But for somebody, just because they own a club or a franchise, to say, well, we don't think you're funny enough to do this state, or we don't think you're funny enough to do this, it kind of hinders us from actually being all that we can be. And you know, as a veteran doing it for 30 years, I'm tired of it.
Okay. Chat, thank you, everybody that just walked in the room. I am on the block with Jen, and I had the comedians pull up today, and we're going to answer some juicy questions. This is not going to be your regular run-of-the-mill interview. We're going to get backstage. We're going in the green room, okay?
Yes, ma'am. All right.
To pick the brains of what they talk about when we're outside waiting to laugh.
You don't want to know all that.
We need some of that. You on the block. We need some of that. So I want to get into some of the questions. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me and your talent and where people can find you. First things first, I'm jumping right in. I am jumping right in. What is your opinion on Instagram comedians? And what I mean by Instagram comedians are people that just, you know what I mean, log on, yell at the camera, and then they have 5 million followers, and then they're getting booked at the same shows that y'all are getting booked at. Is there any sort of resentment at all? Like, this motherfucker don't even do comedy.
Yeah, I'll start and I'll say this. Comedy requires, if you want if you want something from it, you're going to have to give to it, right? So you can hide behind cell phones and cell phone cameras and cameras at home and computer cameras all you want. When you get on stage in front of those people, the truth will be told. There is no fast track. There is no express lane it's not about funny, right? It's about the true comedian. There isn't a fast track or an express lane. It takes time to develop a skill. It takes time on stage to become better on stage. And this is from someone who, you know, again, who went through the process of learning what this comedy thing, what it should be to you, what it should look like, and what it should look like as a finished product. And it just, so, you know, anybody can, right? Look, man, I'm competing with internet sensations. I'm competing with wrestlers. I'm competing with the guys from Jackass that are in the comedy clubs. Like, the list goes on and on and on and on. All I hear from the staff and the people there, man, it was a nightmare having somebody here who wasn't funny. Like, these people are bringing they're bringing in people and showing very little talent. And so the truth is, the people will be the judge. It's not up for me, Capone or Carlos, to say that this person shouldn't be at the club or shouldn't be there. It's the people who will say so. You know, the people want us, right? They want us at the club, and that's why we're there. But I guess the problem is, I would say my own animosity in the very, very beginning was, you don't deserve it. You don't deserve to be here. That was my animosity in the beginning, you know? But then I realized from the business perspective that the comedy club really doesn't care about the comedian. They care about the money that you can bring in. And so once you can face that as a reality, instead of, like, you know, so many young comics go, yo, I'm headlining at you know, Jake's Tavern on Sunday. And I'm like, bro, stop saying you headlining at the tavern, you know, on the corner of Jake Street in the middle of Minnesota. Bro, that's not happening. You just going last on a club with a whole bunch of nobody. Stop saying you have, you know, but people will tell themselves what they want to tell themselves. So the same thing with the internet, you know, the internet stars and the internet famous, right? They're famous on this little internet thing. But again, it's that, are you talented? Yes or no? And that question is answered when, you know, 300 people have purchased a ticket to go see them, and they realize, wow, I could do this. I could just stay at home. I don't got to leave my house and go to the comedy club to go see this nonsense. I can just stay at home and watch this on my computer. So I really feel like they get one chance. And those internet people that are starting to do comedy, like in real time, are realizing real fast that they are not, you know, that they're playing in a league that they don't belong in.
Carlos, what say you? Any resentment at all?
I'm co-signing it, and I'll even add, it's a different animal. It is a completely different animal altogether, and they don't realize that until they have to step on that stage. And I've seen some of these internet sensations step on stage and eat it bad in front of large crowds, because what they're doing is they are getting that big following from what they do on a minute skit or 5-minute skit online, and now they're coming to a comedy club where you got to do 45 minutes to an hour and a half, and you like, man, 15 minutes in, I already know this is going to be some shit, and it's like, matter of fact, sometimes it only takes 15 minutes; it takes 7. If you're doing a black crowd, it takes 2.5 minutes, and they have already put you on Front Street that you are not prepared for that. But this is a job. This is work. This is constant getting on stage night after night after night and doing well, and then failing, and then knowing how to pick up that fail and know how to overcome from that fail, like Mark said, in real time. So this is a different game. Do I knock them for? You can't knock them for coming up quick on the hustle. Hey man, this business is all about the followers, but it's going to be short-lived when you cannot produce on that stage. It is all about the stage, and you can be as fun as you want to be on for a minute, but when you have to do the time, it is going to be, like Mark said, it's going to be a truth teller, and you will not. It's a one-shot deal. It literally becomes a one-shot deal where they like, hey, we made our money, the promoter made his money, the club made their money, but we ain't doing this shit again because we already know what it's going to look like next time.
Right. Capone, what say you? Instagram comedians, Insta famous, being booked where you're booked. What the?
In the beginning, I was like Mark and Carlos. I was pretty much, I didn't like it. And then I realized how much time it takes to actually do some of those videos and the work that they put in. And, you know, unfortunately, we become the older comedians, and times do change. And if you don't go with the time, you'll be left back. There's a lot of comedians that are in our era, that have not made that great step of hitting the internet and building the fans. I mean, you can learn from everybody. When I was coming up, it was the same type of thing. The older comedians that were before me were saying y'all wouldn't be shit if it wasn't for Def Jam. Or y'all wouldn't be shit because they didn't have Def Jam when they were coming up. They were strictly in the clubs trying to be raw and do all the different things that they could do to make it. But then when we came in, Def Jam hit and everybody started blowing up from Def Jam, and they felt the same way that we feeling now. But I've learned that you have to learn to adapt. And when you learn to adapt, regardless of whatever, that's when you still become relevant to whatever crowd that it is. Because as we get older, the comedies change just like music changed. But you have to put yourself into a position to where you have to learn to fit in. Get on this internet, make people laugh. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just work. Get in these clubs. And a lot of them are not going to be as seasoned as we are. But there are some that's doing the work and doing the job. You know, the DC Young Flies, you can't take nothing from him. When I first met him, he had 3 minutes. Now he's a half an hour. It's all about growing and progress. So no, I'm not mad at them. And I actually sit back and whatever I can learn from them, I learn.
Okay. That's fair enough. So speaking about people that don't deserve to be on stage and some that do and some that are putting in the work, what do you think about T.I., rappers switching to comedy? What do you think about T.I. doing comedy now?
I feel like I would ask that same question if I started rapping tomorrow. What would T.I. say about me? You understand what I mean? It's like T.I. would probably be like, stay in your lane. I mean, I'm just saying what it looks like on the outside, right? I haven't seen him. I'll be honest with you, nor do I want to. That's my honest opinion. You know, I'm not saying that someone can't be funny. I'm not saying, it just seems like everybody wants to do comedy for some strange reason. There was a time when Meta World Peace was like, oh, I'm a comedian now, blah, blah. And I always say, yeah, where are you now? You know what I mean? Where are you now, bro? Because once you realize how hard the damn thing is, then again, the truth rises to the top. So T.I. is using his name and his fame to get in, to kind of work his way into a place like I believe similar to the internet people, where he's going to be worse, because a lot of people are going to want to come and see T.I. do comedy. But he ain't ready for that. I had this conversation Eddie Murphy was talking about. How the hell do people want me to do a special when I can't do the work? Because I'm Eddie Murphy and the expectation is so high. So it's the same thing with T.I. How can T.I. go and have a bad set? How? Somebody's going to leak it. Somebody's going to put it out on Front Street, and the brother's not going to be able to feel good about going and doing the work. And everybody's got to have a laboratory. Everybody has to have a room that they can go to, that they can, I always say that you ever see a guy making a bomb? He doesn't work with, he got 80 people around him. It's just him, his little glasses and wires and stuff. He knows what he's doing, but he requires that time. He done blew off enough fingers where he's working like this now. He's like, look, so for T.I., he unfortunately doesn't have a place to go to where he can walk in anonymously, sort of do a few minutes and not and suck or be decent, and people give him enough credit. If he sucks, people gonna be like, yeah, T.I., go back to doing the music, bro. Yo, this ain't for you, boy. He can't do that in Atlanta, So I feel bad for him in that sense, but in the other regard, anybody can dream to do whatever they want to do. I just feel like, Pop, it's late in the game. You have a fantastic career making music. You produce music. And this is hard. This is harder than what people expect. They watch their homeboys go up and cut up people. Yo, my man over here. Look at you, bro. Look at you. You look. That's not comedy. That's not comedy in real life and in real time. You know, a real comedian, as I said, is sitting at home, is writing, you know, watching himself on video, taking notes of himself and building a set. You know, it's a lot more difficult. It's a lot more painstaking. It's a lot more work than most people give us credit for. And I think that T.I. will learn that in the process of his sort of comedy adventure.
Capone, what say you, T.I., basketball players, anybody coming in and it's like now they want to do comedy?
So let me keep it 100 with you. I don't know no other way to be. The only reason that T.I. is getting the flack that he's getting is because he's coming off disrespecting comedians. Because there were other rappers like Kid and Play. He's been doing comedy. What is the other MC K? Girl, I forgot his song. He's also doing comedy. So the problem was that when T.I. came, you know, as comedians, I'm gonna be honest with you, we'll embrace anybody, but you have to show and prove. And I think that when he came off a little cocky, because I haven't seen him, and I'm the type of person, I don't care who you are, I'll tell you the truth. If you're funny, you're funny, and if you're not, you're not. I think that the game is open for everybody, but one thing is, you don't come in disrespecting us. And he was like, well, if y'all mad about my opportunities, then y'all can, in my Red Fox voice, suck my. That's not it. We don't embrace you like that. So why are you coming at us in our own field like that? So I think that when he came in, the arrogance of unnecessary, behavior was the thing that made real comedians be like, I can't take to him. And a lot of us are in a position to where, we've been doing this all our lives. And for him to get the breaks, it might seem like we're upset and we're jealous and all of that. We're not. But again, it's the powers that be, the guys who own these comedy clubs, these people who put these TV shows together. They don't give a damn about us. They don't care. All they want is somebody to put the numbers. I mean, for T.I. to have the opportunity to be on Shaq's All-Star, I mean, what did he do to deserve that? Where a lot of comedians have been sitting around for years. Now, me, I've been on Shaq. I've done it. I've done 3 years of the tour. So there's no hate in there. But at the same time, if you get those opportunities, stay humble. That's all I say. Stay humble. Other than that, I have no qualms with whoever does comedy. But when it comes down, don't just make us feel like we ain't shit. And that's where my problem comes along at.
Comedian Carlos, T.I., can you tell us expeditiously what you think about him and other people like him now are comedians and on these comedy tours?
Honestly, I don't think either way, because I'm gonna do the work that I need to do in order to prove myself, and I think it goes back to what both Capone and Mark are saying. It's about putting in the work. A lot of people think this is very easy. They funny around a little water cooler at work, or their family had them cracking jokes at the family reunion, and all of a sudden you should jump into comedy and you headlining the tavern, like I said. People think that this is an easy job. No, it's not an easy. The only difference between those coming up and T.I. is T.I. had a name. He's built a name off of music. So now he's jumping on this side. So of course he's gonna get immediate love off his name value alone. But in the big scheme of things, I don't think too much about it, because he's gonna have to put in the work just like everybody else. If you want to be a comedian, then it's different than you being a rapper. And so now you're gonna have to put in a whole different type of level of work to be a comedian, to be respected amongst actual comedians. So if people gonna show him love regardless. But in the comedy community, those comedians who are put in the game and they've been in the game for a long time and they put in the work and they know what it takes, they probably side-eyed. A lot of people probably side-eyed and like, let's see what this looks like 3 years from now, if you're still doing it, because some people think it's just a game. It's just something to do fun for now. So we'll find out in 3 years from now if he's still doing this.
So let me thank you everyone who just walked in the room. I am talking to the King of New York, comedy Capone, Mark Vieira, the Latin assassin, and comedian Carlos out of Las Vegas. Okay, I know you guys are asking who these gentlemen are. Some of you already know. Thank you for knowing. So leave a like and subscribe. We will continue. They're letting us in the green room today. So I'm trying to see what I can find out. Gentlemen, speaking of different genres colliding very recently, DL Hughley and Kanye had a fisticuffs. Capone, I know you already addressed that on Comedy Hype. So I'm going to ask the other gentlemen if they would like to chime in. There's a thing all the kids are saying on the internet now, clout chasing. You're just talking about somebody because you're clout chasing. I happen to be of the school of thought. This is an entertainment industry, and we're all going to opine on each other. It is quite natural, and sometimes we opine on public forums. What do you think about clout chasing, and specifically, do you think that DL was clout chasing, commenting on Kanye? And what do you think about Kanye's reaction?
I'm gonna jump off of this one real quick because to me it's real simple. I think of them two in the same caliber, so it's almost like peers talking against each other, even though they're in two different fields, entertainment fields. Everybody has an opinion, and everybody is entitled to their opinion. And because DL is such a big name and Kanye is such a big name, when those type of gentlemen leave their opinions, then it becomes viral. If these were two gentlemen talking in the barbershop, shit wouldn't mean nothing. It would be nothing. It would be like, oh, okay, you get your haircut and you leave and you go about your business. But because it's DL and because it's Kanye, it's news. I don't think DL is clout chasers. I think DL is doing what DL has always done. He has a radio show. He has a platform to speak about whatever he wants to talk about in the way that he has always talked about. And that's him. It'd be different if it wasn't DL and all of a sudden you have somebody who's on a lower scale using Kanye to come up. DL is already up. So where else is he going?
Good point. Mark, what do you think?
I think they're using each other. I don't think that somebody is using the other and the other person is using the other person. I think they're using each other. It's symbiotic, people have to watch something. And when Kanye is breaking up with Kim Kardashian, where everything he did was under a microscope, now he's not with Kim Kardashian, and honestly, he's under less of a microscope. So here is an opportunity for both guys to win. There are no losers in that argument, right? DL is he's fantastic and has built a great career on being a good verbal assaulter. I always say it. I when I met my woman, I told her from the very beginning, don't argue with me. It's no win in that. I use my words daily on stage. I can formulate fantastic sentences and I can also formulate some ugly ones. The last thing I want to do is aim any of these darts at you. So if you become argumentative and you say something slick, that's the worst thing. It's almost like a challenge for us comedians. We're gonna out-slick you every time. So I just believe this is a, how do you say, like a ping pong game, a tennis match between two greats, a great comedian, right, in DL Hughley, and a great hip hop artist in Kanye West. So like Carlos said, but truthfully, there are no winners and there really are no losers because both are getting incredible amount of conversation and eyes, right? So as they say in show business, no such thing as negative press. So they're just getting press, right? I hear people arguing about this all over the place and shocking. You know what I mean? I'm in the supermarket and I hear two white ladies talking about, I heard what Kanye said about that DL Hughley guy and woo, he set him on fire. He's, and I'm just like, what? What? This is not for you. You stop saying that, Margaret. And so I find it hilarious how sometimes people's publicists know how to play games that really rile up the Indians, as I say, get everybody going. Oh, did you hear DL said something about Kanye's blah? And as I watched it, I was like, this is hilarious. Like, Kanye wants no smoke with a comedian. We always gonna get you. Kanye, you are incredible at writing lyrics about your story, but comedians can write about anything. You know, this is. I mean, we'll pop shot you, and it becomes again, if it's a war of words, I think that, in this realm where DL has made, again, a fantastic living. He's in the, he's the underdog in my eyes as a part of it, but I don't think either one loses.
Mm-hmm.
And Capone, you're skipping that, right?
Of course I am.
Maybe, Cap, I don't know any better.
Respect, sir, because now we're moving into what I think is real clout chasing. As you know, after the DL versus Kanye beef happened, some guy, some rapper from out of nowhere from back in the day confronted DL Hughley at a restaurant, and DL Hughley had to call his security on him. So not only are the big guys going back and forth, which is safe and sound, and it's just publicity, no bad press, but now we have like what I call the pilot fish, the little guys who try to involve themselves with the bigger names. And this man literally stepped to DL Hughley at a restaurant to talk about the Kanye thing just so he could have footage, right, for his social media. And they spoke about him for about maybe 24 hours. Do you think that it's getting dangerous? Do you guys ever feel in danger on stage now that hecklers have went from just heckling to now people are jumping on stage, attacking comedians, or doing the heckling on stage with the comedians? Do you think that the clubs should have more security? Are you guys prepared for a heckler jumping on stage with you? What are you going to do? I want to know.
I'm looking at Mark and I'm looking at Capone. I'm looking like we look pretty fit. So I don't think we're going to have no issues if we motherfuckers hopping on stage. Or it's going to be one hell of a show. It's going to be one hell of a show.
Carlos, let me say, I've seen Capone invite hecklers on stage. Like, I've seen some things with Capone that I'm like, did he just invite 4 dudes to come on stage? Like, and I'm like, all right, hey, Cap, I'm going to be in my car because I don't want to see how this ends. So, I say this, not every, there's a thing, not every comedian is built for the heckler, right? I call them the more cerebral comedians, the comedians that write and they go over their script out 1,000 times. And those people, they get frazzled whenever they're heckled, even at the very minimum, And then there are comedians that are up there telling their story that even if you interrupt them with googly goo, as I call it, just nonsense, right? We're able to try to convince you to stop, right? Or I'm grateful to work at comedy clubs where on the Friday that I arrive, I have a conversation with security and I say, look, I'm good at handling hecklers, but if I say, hey, get me a Coke, that means I need security to get somebody out of here because I don't drink Coke. So, I try to keep it very simple. Whereas if I can handle you, I will handle you. But if I know it's going to escalate beyond something that is fun, right, for myself and the audience to watch this unravel, because again, when people are drinking and you're not, it's not fun anymore, right? It's no longer fun. So we can have fun and it can be banter, but whenever it gets a little bit past a certain level, it is time for you to go because people have paid to watch great comedy and you're stepping on that possibility. So I think, the comedy clubs, number one, that I've been through my career have really great security and they work with us, hand in hand, it's lockstep. So I don't ever want to say that I've been in a comedy club where someone has jumped on stage and the security wasn't right there to rip their asses off. I've been there. I've been there. I've done jokes through the years that made women literally go bananas. So, but I will say that, there are comedians that how do you say that they're not streetwise. They kind of don't know when they're under attack until the person's on stage and on top of them. And, that's a completely, that's harmful for them because the temperature of the room now, I would say we walk into a room that's already hot. Mm-hmm. People are already, I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it. People are watching the news in their homes. They're getting all riled up. They watch, they're on their phones watching their favorite stupidity that is the news now. And then they get all riled up. Then when they get to the comedy club, comedians can't have an opinion edgewise. We can't say, hey, the policy on this, it sucks. The policy on COVID didn't do this, or they shut down comedy for 9 months. We can't even have an opinion because we're attacking their favorite television personality. So the world is a crazy place. So we as the comedians, we actually have to walk a finer line than we were walking pre-pandemic. It's a finer line. We've always been walking a line, and we've always pushed the envelope. But some comedians are getting fully attacked. If they say by chance, hey man, F Trump, he did this, that, oh, forget it. Man, depending on where you at, this can go sideways very, very quickly, or same thing with Biden, right? It just depends on where you are. So my thing is that we just have to walk a finer line, be a little bit more smarter when we're up on stage, and also gauging the material, the good comics, the Capones, the Carlos. We're gauging the material. We know what's hitting and what's not hitting. So, we know how to press the gas when it's, when we got to make a sharp left. We know when to press the gas if we got to make a sharp right. That's to me, the difference between a comic that's following a script and a comedian that's up there feeling the room, getting the energy, so on and so forth. That takes a lot of gear changing once you're on stage, so that you know what the audience is clicking with you on.
Capone, taekwondo, or you call in security? What's going on stage with you?
I hate to sound like I'm a bad guy, but everybody knows me from the streets. And there's a certain respect that I have for the years of comedy that I've been doing. I was called, when I first started, a Heckler assassinator. And it's carried through my career. So I don't really get the hecklers no more. And like Mark says, I'm not looking for hecklers, and I'm looking for respect. And even if a guy is drunk and getting a little disrespectful, I know how to dismantle him verbally. And so that's a gift. And when you have that type of gift, you kind of don't worry about heck. I mean, you'll get the guys who get a little jealous. If a girl is laughing too hard, I still get that. Whatever the situation is, but I totally know how to control, and I know how to control myself. When I was younger, I was a hothead. I knew, the taekwondo and all of that. But at a point in my career, I know that I'm getting older, and it's just all about respect, not only for me, but for the people who paid their money to come to laugh. And that's very important that you keep that in mind and not let yourself become a hothead. Because, I mean, it's not only men, it's women, drunk women too. And I don't drink. So once they get out of hand and you don't know how to handle them, next thing you know, you calling her all kinds of bitch and all of this. And you don't know that she might have a son that don't agree with you calling her a bitch. So you got to be very careful with what you say and how people are. And for a drunk person, I've learned to make them feel very beautiful when they're drunk. And that's been a gift for me, my career, since I've been going forward.
Carlos, are you serving up the 2 pieces in the biscuit in between jokes?
You're damn right. Hey, that's why I've been staying in this gym. I've been getting my mind together. I think you have to, at this particular stage of the game, like both gentlemen have said, the game has changed. So you have to be more cognizant of what's going on around you. I don't drink either, especially when I'm on stage, because I need to be able to see what's happening in real time. I want to be able to deliver my jokes, and if a heckler steps up, then be able to shut that down and then move on with the show that the people paid for. So I don't drink. I make sure that I stay cognizant of what's going around. But we are walking a very fine line these days. But we have a job to do, and our job is to be comedians. Our job is to tell the joke, and even if it's something that people don't like, our job is to make the funny out of it. So it is what it is. So they don't like it. Like Mark said, either come on, y'all can leave, but I'm staying here to do my job. That's it. And when y'all leave, guess what? We really gonna have a good time, because I'm gonna talk about y'all for the 5 minutes I got left to go. So let's go ahead and do this. We'll make this a really good time. So choose to stay and hang out and have a good time, or y'all get bounced and we have a good time without you.
Okay, really quickly, thank you everyone who just walked in. We are talking about the dopest comedians. I'm getting the info from the green room. Thank you for the super chat, Il Doctrine, always here. The biggest joke of self-development is there doesn't even exist a single self anywhere for you to develop. So develop an other. There are many others in your kingdom, whispered the Joker to the king from behind the throne. Thank you for that super chat, Ill Doctrine. There's some great questions in the chat, but I know I don't have you guys for all day, so I just want to get through my little nosy questions. The next thing I want to talk about is really big in comedy, really, really big. Okay, bigger than a Netflix deal. Cancel culture. You guys are now being canceled if you say the wrong thing. So please let me know honestly. Have you curbed certain jokes? Have you rearranged punchlines out of fear of getting canceled? Because cancel means no money. So is that something that you think about now when you're writing your jokes, being canceled?
I'm gonna jump in this one real fast. It's my point is no, because to me I know what cancel culture was intended to do, but now I don't think it's doing that. I think you're actually getting more attention because your name is now being thrown around from place to place. People didn't know who you were. Now all of a sudden they're going, I want to see what he said. I want to see what he did. And then they're researching you even more and realizing, well, hell, I'm supposed to hate this person. I actually kind of like this guy. And then we're starting to get more traction that way. No press, what is it? No press is bad press. But I don't believe cancel culture is doing what is initially intended to do. But now you just have to be prepared for it. We have to tell the story. That we cannot water ourselves down in order for you to appease you just because you don't like the color blue today. We're not here for that. We're not here for that. We're here to do a job. So if they don't like it, they'll be okay. They can please throw my name in the conversation of canceling because that'll get me up to Mark and Capone status real quickly. And I'll be like, okay, all right, now I know I made it. What can I say to get on this cancel culture real quickly?
What do you think, Mark? Have you ever written a joke and said this may be too far in this environment?
There's so many I feel like asteroids, if you will, because if you got to be careful what you're willing to get hit with, in this stage of my career, this stage of of my wants from my career, I don't want to say something or do something that is easily taken out of context. So what I feel is I have the opportunity to use something incredibly valuable in stand-up, which is the way I speak, the words that I use. So the way I look at stand-up is absolutely, in the 90s, it was okay to call gays the F word, right? It was okay. It wasn't a big deal. Guys would say that amongst each other. Oh, get out of here, you whatever. And that word is now similar to dropping an N-word. It is, you call a gay person that and forget it, especially at a show or if you get caught online, you have an entire culture of people who have been hurt by your one hiccup, so I know that Kevin Hart per se, got in trouble for being that way. And they tried this whole cancel thing or Joe Rogan, with the, which I think was a completely different thing than what Kevin Hart was doing, although both were insensitive, but at the time, it was okay. I go back and I watch Eddie Murphy, right? And he dropped some words that you're like, man, you can't do that no more. You just can't. As comedians, we, just like Capone said in the very beginning, the times are changing. As comedians, we have to be intelligent enough to recognize where we live now, how we live now, and what is acceptable as words that we throw out there, So no one's afraid. I don't think comedians get on stage talking about this joke is going to get me canceled as much as what we say. I'm going to get a bigger laugh if I say it more broadly instead of saying it so directly. So I'm going to choose that way. It's sort of like we have an opportunity. See, the comedian is the writer, the editor, the producer, the performer. We have a fantastic opportunity to cut, edit, right on stage as we're talking, oh no, I'm not gonna go that route. You know, how many times have I, you know, stopped my show to deal with something and go, all right, I'm not gonna go that route. You know, here's a you know, a gay dude that's trying to blah blah whatever, get attention or whatever the case may be. But I will never go so deep as to, you know, use a derogatory term to hurt the culture. One person is not gonna make me, is not gonna force me to hurt the entire culture and be insensitive. So again, I just feel like, you know, as much as I would like to, you know, as much as I would like to keep it where it was, we all have to elevate our game and meet people where they would like to be met. And I use this very sensitively because my niece is now a nephew who's dating a guy, you know, you understand what I mean? And so even in my own world, I'm like, wow, you know, as comedians start going, oh, I'm not calling my uncle them, and I'm not calling my sister they, and I'm not, you know, my daughter is a daughter. She'll never be, you know, my uncle or something, you know. And I'm just like, man, let people live. You know, at this point in time, the world has come to a place where you just got to let people live and find happiness in whatever they want to be called, because we're, you know, and comedians, right? We just got to go with it and be like, all right, listen, you know, my brother now wants to be, he said he's a toaster, you know, so now my brother's a toaster. That's what he wants to be, right? He wants to be recognized as a toaster. I'm like, hey, man, you want to be a toaster, then go ahead. Now, you know, leave me alone. I'm going on stage. I'll see you later. But I, you know, and as funny as I'm trying to make it, I just feel like, man, be happy whatever it is that you want to be called, do, or say. Just leave those people who live their lives in their way. Give me my opportunity to be happy as well, you know?
Capone, what do you think about it? Do you think it's exhausting to step around the landmines of every joke that you write? Have you changed anything because of cancel culture?
One thing you have to understand about a true comedian, you don't go into comedy trying to hurt people. And when you can understand that you're not trying to hurt people, you have to realize that words are something. That's why they got antonyms and synonyms, because you can use a different word to mean the same type of thing. And so canceling culture are sensitive people that kind of look for anything to be a voice. And all right, you got offended or somebody said something to offend you, but how much truth of it is? See, you know, Mark made a great point, but he stayed on the point of the gay thing, and that's where most of the cancel cultures is coming from, because gay people are sensitive. But in reality, I grew up, I didn't know that men were supposed to kiss men. I don't have nothing against it, but it's not something that I was used to. And when you're not used to something, you talk about it. And if I can't talk about it and you're trying to shut me up for me maybe to understand it, then that's where the problem comes along. I'm not telling jokes to try to offend gay people or trying to offend people that are sensitive to something. I might say something that I don't understand, and if it's funny and people laugh about it, that's a total different thing than just to come out and try to hurt people's feelings just off the muscle. And that's not where I'm at with it. So it just seems like the cancel culture are just looking for anything. There's like sitting around. Oh, you heard what he said? Let's get rid of him. And I don't think that that's fair. You know, it's a bunch of things that, I mean, where does freedom of speech lie at? And we all know that in every business, there is a great sense of unfairness, you know, and I don't agree with the N word. I don't agree with the B word, but I still use it. I use it in a funny content. And that's all I'm trying to be, is funny. I'm not trying to go into a position to hurt anybody. And that's not my focus. But there are some people that you say certain things and it might trigger pain. Mm-hmm. And that's a thing where you have to completely understand that I don't know what your world is all about. And sometimes, you know, give me benefit of the doubt. Don't just try to cancel me because I said something that you don't agree about. Bottom line.
Very true. Okay, so let's get into, I'm very curious. We're going to get into female comics real quick. Okay. I noticed when I've gone to a lot of comedy shows, and I noticed the pattern with female comics is they always go the sexual route. I suck this, his penis that, when I'm having sex, this, and there's a lot more of that than there is actual comedy. Why do you think that is? What do you think about female comics and what they should and should not be doing? I'm just out of curiosity. I don't want all the women watching. I'm not telling men to tell y'all what to do. I'm just curious because it's something that I see a lot. So what do you think female comics are missing? Why do you think they always, you know what I mean, veer towards, let me talk about sex and my ass and tits and my, you know, why do you think that is?
I'll jump in with that real quick. It's plain and simple. They think that that's what people want to hear. When you think that people want to hear, and there might be some people that are successful with it, that's what you go with. But that, I wouldn't say that's every female. The people who stand out, like a Samora talks about quality of stuff. She talks about a variety of stuff, and she doesn't base her stuff on sex, and that's why she's one of the great ones. But there are a lot of new comedians that think that, and female comedians, should I say, that think that that's the route to go, because they think that people want to hear about that, and it's not. I'll leave it at that.
What do you think, Carlos?
I agree with that. I think it's almost, to me, it's almost like taking the easy route. Is that's what they've heard other female comedians do. There are a lot of named comedians female comedians that do that. So they feel like that's my path to success, as I'm gonna model myself after that because that's what people want to hear. But as Capone just said, I think there are a lot of female comedians out there currently that don't take that route. And do they get the attention that they deserve? I don't think so. And which is kind of the double-edged sword, because then they have to choose: do they take that route just to get to the next level? And I don't know. I can't speak for them, but I think to each his own. I think you have to be whoever you are. Comedy is about, for me, and I've learned, and I'm still continuing to learn, it's about my voice. It's about who I am. It's about delivering who I am on stage and giving them me. And so if that's you, then do you. If not, then you have to really find out in your mind when you're on that stage who you are and how you're going to come off and what you want to be remembered as. Because every time we get off stage, that's my thinking, is how do I want people to remember me? And that's important for me. And I want to make sure that my voice is heard that way. And I think if they take that route, a lot of female comedians are going to really take off from there.
Okay, Mark.
I just feel like it's also, I think, in addition to what these two fine gentlemen said, I think it's also about what people are watching. You know, because it's like Capone said, you know, there are a lot, right? There's a culture of comedians like Red Fox, right? Red Fox, you know, was a dirty comic, talked about sex a lot. And, you know, what happens is that we find comedians are tasked with finding nuances, even with the sexual culture of the time, and to play, you know, play in that arena. It's still a shock, right? A shock culture when a comedian goes up there like rest in peace, like Bob Saget, who, you know, played a wholesome dad on television and then went out on stage and, you know, said, you know what I don't like? I don't like a stinky pussy, you know, and everybody was just like, you know, not from the dad on television. Right? And so how I truly feel is that there are some comedians, there are many female comedians that don't do it. One of my favorites, and I think one of the top comedians in the country, female comedians, is Wanda Sykes. And her Netflix special was inspiring. It was so funny. It was so, as Carlos said, it was so based on her life and how she is experiencing it as a gay Black woman. I gave her a standing ovation in my living room, you know, and that, you know, it's exemplary. You know what I mean? It's so fantastic to watch a comedian who can talk about this and, you know, and she doesn't. She picks the high road, right? And so just like anything else, you know, there are lowbrow comedians and highbrow comedians, and then they're just comedians that are chasing a greatness inside of their funny, a Bernie Mac, who would talk about sex, but then take it so deep into his life that he was able to transform and transcend all little bits and pieces of everything that he was going through. But he was really just chasing something so high, right? He wasn't, you laughing wasn't enough for Bernie Mac. He wanted you to leave out of there with a headache, a stomach ache, throwing up, talking about every single joke that he did. And I think the greats do that. The topic is sort of inconsequential if they're able to make you die laughing in the process. I'm not a dirty comic per se, but I have talked about sex in the past, but I try to make it a more highbrow conversation where I don't have to use the word pussy and so I try to use better words. You understand? But I'm still talking about sex. I'm still talking about the whole thing, and I think that it's funny both ways. I love watching Pryor talk about it. I love watching Eddie talk about it. I love watching George Carlin or any one of those guys. They have their own take. So I think it's beautiful to know that there are dirty female comics, but there are also smart, funny women out there as well. That there are two types.
I was gonna say.
I'm sorry,
I was gonna say I lost you.
Last question, I'm going to mix up one of the questions from the chat. Sorry, chat, I couldn't get to all your questions, but I don't have these guys all night. So I'm going to mix OG Patrice, I'll mix your question with my last question of these gentlemen because time is money and it's Friday night and I know they got things to do tonight.
Yep.
I know. Speaking of Wanda Sykes' Netflix deals, and I'll mix this with one of the questions from the chat, is the Netflix deal the ultimate goal for you gentlemen? Also, OG Patrice wants to know, are you guys going into television and movies? Is that the goal? Netflix deal is the biggest goal? Or do you guys want to also be, actors and go into comedy, sitcoms and movies and what have you? And if so, who would you like to work with?
I'll let y'all answer because I got a lot to say about that.
All right. I'll answer this, I think honestly, it's just true story. I know that I speak for the other comics as well. Comedy is enough. My stand-up comedy is enough. I am not thirsty. I'm not hungry to be a movie star, nor am I hungry or starving to be a Netflix star or a TV star. As long as people want to hear me when I get on stage, honestly, that's where my true happiness lies. Now, in the time that I've been doing comedy, 20 years, I've written my own TV show. I've had TV deals in the past. That is different. That's work. They made me write for 13, 14 hours a day. And they were like, Mark, we want to, it's not enough that you go on stage and tell your story, go in a room and go write it on your computer because I want to see what it looks like. It's we're talking completely different, things. When I get sent movie roles to look over, when I get sent material for TV shows, am I excited? I'm excited for the opportunity that if I get this movie, more people are going to come see my stand-up. I know that sounds crazy, but that's how I see it. All right, if I get this movie role, that just means when I go and do a theater at such and such, it's going to be sold out. Like, that's how I look at it. Everything is going to play into what I want to do on stage because I feel like I write my words and my words are better than the words that, that writer is going to write for me on that TV show. I'd rather do the stuff that I write for me. So I say that's job one. And then everything else that comes from stand-up, all the blessings that come from me making people laugh, whether it be I play somebody's cousin or uncle or father on the next sitcom, that's fair. That's fair game. I would never say no to that because I'm not, but I definitely want all the things that I do to come back to stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Carlos, how about you?
Yeah,
Deal?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that wholeheartedly. I think comedy is the first love, and whatever happens with regards to the work that we put in and the hard work that we put in, and the accolades that come with that work is what I'm willing to accept. Is that a Netflix deal? If Netflix comes along, hell yeah, I'm gonna take the deal because it's comedy. It's doing comedy. And so I'm working extremely hard for that. I'm working, when I say for that, I mean, I want to be the best. I want to be one of the best. I want to be considered amongst the best. So I think in order to do that, you just have to put in the work. What is it? Oh, the old saying, build it and they will come. I think that's the motto I work under consistently currently in my life is build it and they will come, stay on stage, do what you love, do what you are passionate about. And then everything else is the icing on the cake. So as far as people I'd like to work with, I mean, I want to work with anybody who's doing something in this business, who is major in this business, because it's only going to push me to work that much harder to also attain those levels. So life is what it is. What is for me is for me, and I'm gonna just keep working that way.
Capone, we gonna see you on set anytime soon?
I have a with me it's a little bit different because I've had a taste of everything, and I've been in the movies with Paper Soldiers. I was one of the guys who actually started Kevin Hart's career. Been in Death of a Dynasty and State Property 1, State Property 2. My first movie is when I was in high school. I was in Beach Street. So I already had the movie bug. Doing HBO, was one of the guys who got the biggest standing ovations doing Def Jam, been on the Shaq tour. So Netflix was a little bit more personal to me because it was promised to me and it didn't come through. And so I reached out, and this was recently, I reached out to Mike Epps and I said, hey, bro, I need your help on something. I said, I got a lot of connections, but one connection I don't have is Netflix. And he just did a new Netflix special, and Mike Epps hit me back and he said, Cap, call me. We're going to make that happen. Now, there was a comedian that just did a Netflix special, and it hurt me because there was a lot of my material that was being used in there. And so when you see this, it kind of, for me, it gets me even more angrier because now he done took my material, used it, and everybody's praising him for it. And no matter what I say or how I react to it, Capone is just bitter. Capone is upset. Capone is this. And, I didn't do it first. Or matter of fact, I did it first, but it didn't get the attention that it was supposed to get. And here you just took a joke from me, put it on there, and now you're flying high on it. Not that I'm bitter, not that I'm upset. Man to man, I called them and I said, hey, bro, did you write that? Because that's exactly what you saw me do. And, you get the, man, I ain't see you do that. No, we was just on the same show where I got a standing ovation. I brought it to your attention. You can have the joke. I was man enough. There's no beef, but now I know how to watch myself. And I know that even those that you respect in this game can be a little bit crooked. So I say that to say, and that's why I said I have a lot to say. My Netflix special has to be something a little bit more than what I usually do. And it has to put a stamp on something more than my stamp usually put. Because, hey, the Def Jam thing still carries me. The Paper Soldier movies still carry me. But now, since Netflix is the new thing, and I don't have that type of connection, and unfortunately, most of us utilize our agents and think that they would be able to put us in a position. But when they don't put you in a position, then there's something that you got to question yourself about. So now I have to actually reach out to the people that I know have that type of power that can put me in that place and not feel ashamed about it and say, hey, I need your help. And that's what I reached out to Mike Epps about. And he reached back out to me. And that made my day. I'm going to just leave it at that.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for pulling up on the block with Jen today. Please, once again, let people know where to find you and what you got coming up next, because it's very, very exciting. I know you're selling tickets, Capone. I know you got tickets out for Ricky Smiley, Carlos. I know Mark Vieira, you on TV and everywhere. Please let them know before you leave. Mark?
Just again, follow me, markvieira.com. Again, grateful to be here, Latino representing the Latinx culture. And I feel, I don't know, I just feel a certain kind of pride that, the Latin story is being told through my funny lens and filter. It's beautiful. And again, I hope that it's not just for Latinos, but anytime you come see me, you laugh from a great place.
And what do you got coming up next, Mark?
Well, again, my tour dates are all on markvieira.com. So come check me out. And again, I'm working with Palante HBO for my next comedy special. So HBO and HBO Max have embraced me, so I'm looking forward to finalizing and inking that deal over the next few months, and then big news coming hopefully in 2023 with with some more comedy.
Capone, where can we see you next?
Every goddamn where. Well, this next week I'm at the Apollo doing an April Fool's show that I created. I am in NJ Pack. I am at pretty much every theater that I can possibly be in. But follow me on comediancapone.com or go to my Instagram, Comedian Capone. If you can't spell comedian, please don't follow me. I just I'm still touring with Mark and Talon and Rob. We are the Kings of New York. And just really trying to take this, because COVID has taught me a lot. And if you sit still, that's where you'll be. And I'm not trying to sit still for nobody. So there I am.
Hello, comedian Carlos. Where are you next?
LA Comedy Club is where I will be this weekend, and next major show, well, actually two, Laugh After Dark at Notoriety Live here in Las Vegas. And then I'm with Ricky Smiley in Little Rock, Arkansas, April the 16th. So those are the next bang, bang, bang shows. But I'm doing shows all over as well. I'm trying to stay consistent and stay focused on this grind so that I can continue to get better. They can find me right here. If they didn't know how to spell comedian Carlos, so they can
put it on the whiteboard.
Right, I did write this up before I came on. So you can find me at Comedian Carlos on Instagram. It's probably the best, Comedian Carlos ANT on TikTok. And then, hey, we're going to keep this thing moving. So it's been a pleasure and an honor to be on this same show with you guys.
Same to you, brother.
Same here, man.
Thank you so much, salute, gentlemen. Thank you for keeping comedy funny, okay? Because comedy's supposed to be funny. Thank you, everybody in the chat. On the Block with Jen on Instagram, on the Block with Jen on Gmail. Hit that like and subscribe on your way out the door. Salute to you, gentlemen. Thank you for pulling up. Thank you for giving me your time. Continued success, and get to your shows tonight, because I know y'all have shows tonight.
Let's go. Friday.
Yeah, thank you, Jen.
Bye, Jen.
All right, guys, you like it? You like it? I told you, we got content over here. We got content over here, but y'all knew that, right? So make sure you hit subscribe, share this. I'm about the good interviews going behind the scenes. I don't do surface interviews. Thank you so much for being in the chat. Thank you for being here early. Thank you for participating, and sorry if I didn't get to your questions, but when I'm interviewing people, I like to concentrate what they're saying. So if you like this, share this, make sure you subscribe. I got something coming for you tomorrow that may be a little sexy. And then Sunday, we're going back into religion, and it's going to be cray-cray. Okay? All right, guys. So, and don't forget, leave me a comment on the comment section when I get off this live for the algorithm. Okay? Make sure you keep your girl in your algorithm in case you like what you see. I'll keep it coming, all right? So I'll see you in the comments, meet you in the comments. Have an amazing weekend. And I'll see you guys here over the weekend. I plan to come back. Be back with my girls. And Alicia, Is It Just Me? And Tawana G from Tawana G. So I see you guys soon. Keep it funny. Keep it light. All right, guys, I'm out. What's up, Mo? I see you.